On the afternoon of February 4th, 2023, Medic 712 was dispatched mutual aid to Prince George's County for the report of a patient with chest pains. Medic 712 arrived on scene, and as the crew was backed into the driveway, the patient's family was bringing the patient to the unit. The patient was immediately placed onto the stretcher and an assessment was started. The patient was found to be in significant discomfort and very diaphoretic. Both firefighter paramedics Crease and Mismo obtained vital signs and performed a 12-lead EKG, which showed elevation in the anterior leads. The 12-lead was transmitted to White Oak Medical Center, and the crew began to prepare the patient for transport. En route to the hospital, firefighter paramedic Crease was monitoring the patient's condition and vitals and was attempting to consult with White Oak via EMRC, and the patient's condition began to deteriorate. The patient became lethargic and began to posture. Firefighter paramedic Crease noted the patient's cardiac rhythm and had converted over to ventricular tachycardia, and the patient no longer had a palpable pulse. Paramedic Crease immediately initiated chest compressions and alerted the driver of the unit, paramedic Mismo, to pull over and assist with patient care. The crew worked together to administer high-performance CPR, apply the AED pads, and defibrillate the patient. After the first shock, the patient began to vomit, so the patient's head was moved to protect the airway, while chest compressions were continued. While the crew was in the process of requesting additional resources, the patient had a return of spontaneous circulation and began to regain consciousness. The patient remained lethargic for about 1 minute, but then became alert and oriented. The patient was quickly reassessed and stabilized. The decision was made to complete the transport to the hospital. En route, White Oak was updated about the change in the patient's condition. Upon arrival to the hospital, patient care was transferred to the staff at White Oak. The patient was stabilized in the emergency department and then transferred to the cardiac catheterization lab, where a stent was placed and angioplasty was performed on his LAD. The patient was monitored in the intensive care unit, where his condition continued to improve. Thanks to the knowledge, skills, swift actions of both paramedics, the patient recovered with no neurological deficits and was discharged to home February 7th to his grateful family.